Hello everybody and welcome to another tutorial in camera and lens repair. And this time I will actually take my old Mamiya M645 and take the lens off because it has some problem. And it's the Mamiya-Sekor C. Oh, I forgot something. Yeah, you can see it's a 2.8 and the 50mm, and it has some sticky aperture plates and other issues that we will come as we are processing the thing here. So this will be part one, and there will be two parts, I guess. Well, let's see. This lovely lens has a problem. I mean, it looks pretty good. The focusing is a little tight. But the other thing is, I mean, except the glasses, the lens element looks in some way okay. I think I will clean it later on, but that's another thing. The real problem is when we I mean, it's the aperture plates that have oil. I mean, it looks okay, but you can see, maybe you can see traces of something in there. Maybe it's better on the other side. There are traces of something that is on the plates. Maybe it's old oil, I guess. Well, I have been into the lens and take a look, set marks, and find out what to actually do. But there are some other issues in this case. But yeah, we need some tools, a rubber thingy. I mean, some rubber tools. This is a gasket you can buy in the hardware store, and this one has 56.6mm, and this here, so it can fit over the nameplate and you can unscrew it. The famous rubber cone from Japan Hobby Tool is also really good in many cases, and also here. Flathead screwdriver, we need that for something. 2 JIS screwdrivers. It's a 2mm and a 2.5. Those are a set of 4 I have buy on ifixit.com. And no, I'm not sponsored by any company. Some tweezers, different kind, different shape. This is a modified to take out the blades and put in again. It's very flat here on the pins here, so it's a really good tool. Some dentist tool is also very handy, especially some of those with a very pointy tip, and also some of those this kind with a very flat and very thin tip. And also this one is really good. But let's see. And we also need a measuring tool and a lens blower. This is the Orbit from, it's called the HEPA blower. Really good tool, just say it. Let's jump into it. We need to disassemble, and I will simply start with the nameplate, which this very sticky gasket is really good for that. I mean, you could use some of those where you can buy them. This is a set of 9 different. You can also, it's also fine but it's not so sticky as the other. I mean, this kind of rubber is more sticky than the gray thingy. But this the Japan Hobby Tools rubber cone is also really good. But I will just show this and unscrew it. Of course, I have been into the lens, so not everything is super tight, but you can come into the lens by, I mean, first you can unscrew the nameplate, or you could just set the let's see, set the lens to near end, grab the front ring here and simply unscrew it. But if the nameplate sits too tight, well, it could be a problem, because then you have to unscrew the nameplate first. There could be some issue with the name ring is really sticky. So then you have to use isopropyl alcohol, or you could also use nail polish remover. It's not a problem here, but you could just dip some drops here around, and with a cotton bud you could just dip it here with the nail polish remover or the isopropyl alcohol. Maybe it will help. Well, now let's get the ring off, and we could also take this off, so we have everything taken apart. So off that. Now next thing is the front lens group sits here. There's no notches around here to take off the whole front lens assembly. So again, we use this one, or we could use this one. You can, I mean, we could do so. Probably, yeah, it can fit. It's just to show you what could be done with this. And it can sit pretty tight. In this lens, when I disassemble it first, they have put on some sticky rubber or something, glue, not really glue, but you see. So unscrew that, or we could use the other one. Sometimes it's better, you have a better grip on it, but well. So this is the front lens group, not really anything special. Well, they really look nice, those lenses with the color in. Well, next, if there is oil on the blades, and in this case there is something on here, especially if we take a look and set it to manual, set the selector here for manual, and we try to move the blades, well, something will happen. If we take a look here and look at the blades, it will open, and it goes really good, up to 2.8. But what about the other way? Well, not really much happen if I turn it, because there are oil in the somewhere, maybe on the blade. I haven't been into this. I only set small marks, which I will show you. But you see, if I want to close the blades again, I set it to 22 again, then push the lever over here and get them to close. It goes fine. But if I set it to A, automatic, So it will stay close. But if I move the connection pin, you can see it will not really work the way it should. So let's have a look inside and see what we can do about it. See, the rubber ring here is good to take off because it's not really necessary. No, I figure out now. It was earlier that I figure out, okay, what to do then. So we will take off the back lens group, and that's good for the rubber cone here. And especially with this one, we can put them all except the biggest one. Put all on here and turn it in counterclockwise. You maybe think, okay, why take off the back lens group? Because you want to go in here. Yeah, you will see under the mount here there is some of the parts that has really a lot of oil in, so we need to take it off anyway, because if you look here, well, it looks nice, fine. So I will take off the mount. It sits with 3 screws. It's not the same as you sit here. So we only take those on the edge here. Remember, the aperture ring, it has a steel ball somewhere around, yeah, I will tell you. But off with the 3 screws here. And they are long, just to show you. There are 2 long set of screws in here. And they look like the same, but isn't. Not really, as I see it. Now, take off the mount. It can sit a little tight, as I found out earlier. So one could set in a screwdriver in here somewhere and lift it up. It's not tight anymore, but it was earlier. So off with that. As you can see, this is how it looks, and this is the way it changed the auto and manual. So this pin will sit there, and when you put it to A, it will go all the way over here, or the opposite. Nothing special about that. Now, you see the ring here, and if we take a closer look, you can see there are traces of oil here around, also here, and yeah, I need to unscrew this, and this screw. And off, and this ring will then come off. So sometimes a magnetized screwdriver is good, but it has to be more magnetic to get off the screws. You see, if we take a look on the other screw that I took out earlier, yeah, I think it's the same. So no problem. Now off with the last one, and keep your fingers on the aperture ring when you take out this, so you not grab the aperture ring and then the spring and the ball, steel ball, will fly away. So be sure about that. So off with this, the little screw, and now it's free. Then you can see a lot of shiny oil in this lens, so that's why everything is so sticky. Now then we look into the to the actual part of the aperture system, and I will just take it out, this ring. Where did it go? Yeah, another modified tweezer. This case, it's good to dig under here and get this ring out, as you can see. Now we need to take out the spring, the lock ring here that sits around. You can see it here. This plate, this plate, this plate, and the spring. Okay, so we will take out the spring. You see, it's very sticky, the blades here. Even if I open them all the way, they are still, the spring is simply not strong enough to pull the aperture back to open. So we will take off the aperture ring here, and you can see there is some notches. Hopefully you can see there are some notches here. That's the aperture settings, I mean the aperture notches. But there is a bigger one here, this notch here. It's for this ring with this pin. It goes into there. So when you move the aperture ring, it will also move this ring here. Now there is, I know it because I have been into the lens before, so that's why I set a small mark here, right under here, against the edge. There is a spring, no, a steel ball and a spring, and to get it out, you simply set the lens all the way over to the big notch here until it says click. You probably can see it goes out there, and then you cannot move the aperture ring. So next thing is to do, hold your hand over here, so the spring and the steel ball will not at all fly away. Wiggle a little, and then it's out. So this is how it looks. And then we have this tiny steel ball. Put it away where you can find it. And also the little spring. Don't lose it. You will have a hard time find another one, or you could maybe take one from another lens if you can find it. Now next thing is, well, we could actually just open the aperture here. But in this case, there's simply too much oil here in this system. You can maybe see it's very shining, and that's why I need to take it apart fully. If it was only some oil on the plate, well, we could just dig into the which I can show you. We could just dig into the aperture plates directly here. So let's see how it's done. Before you do anything, I just set a little mark down here, just so you know where the aperture plate here, this plate here. So before doing anything, set a mark before actually taking out the before you disassemble the aperture assembly. And also good to set a mark down here. You can see on the side where the arrow is pointing, and also here you see the brass part and the aperture ring here. So we'll just do so with a pointy dentist tool, which are really good for that. So just set a mark around here, so you know exactly where when you put the plate in here, where it should sit. And also here, on just as a second option, set a mark here on the brass part on the plate. So now you're absolutely sure how things should sit when you put it back in again. So let's get into the blades, which are quite interesting. So it sits with 3 screws, one there, there and there. Remember how it should face. It can only sit in one position, since you have a big gap here where the pin that comes from here go through, and you have the little brass part here where the plate sits beside. So out with that. It's not really that special. And off with the last screw. So there it is. Now to get the blades out, the plate also, I have made myself a this is a tweezer for stamp collectors. They use it. They have a very round and flat ends, so it's really good in some cases like this. So you can just put it under, maybe you can see it, and lift up the plate, then get it out. Let's see how it looks on. Oh wow, that's really oily. That's why it goes so sticky. So you might think, okay, where does that bloody oil come from? Well, the only place it can come from is the aperture system. Not the aperture, the focusing system, of course, yes. Sorry. So here we have it. The plates are in here, and we can, where did it go, my tweezer for the plates? You can see there's also one screw here, but it looks like it holds, let's see, it holds this, no, it's not possible to take out. Hey, yeah, it is. There is a brass ring here. So Well, I think I take that out too. I haven't recognized that because I was not into the Aperture system. I mean the blades. So off of that. One screw. And then it should be possible to take out. Lift out gently. See? Then a tweezer. Where's my tweezer? Here. So out with that. It's also really shining of oil, way too much. It needs to go into the isopropyl alcohol. Now, then we are actually facing the blades and the ring that get the aperture to move, and it can also sit in one position. So when we put in the blades, we know how it should sit. So we can just take out the blades, just lift it up a little. It will be pretty messy, but we'll just take them out anyway. And again, it's my homemade tool here, tweezer, for blades. That is really good. Remember how the blades are sitting, so you put them correct in again. I mean, they cannot really sit in the opposite direction, as I see it. So, well, I can see there is a point I should have mentioned earlier. It's because this spring I should have taken it out earlier, but we will just do it now. So there. And then it's free. And now we are off here and can take out the plate here. Well, so it is here. You can see there is even more oil on here on the plate. So it also needs to be have a base of isopropyl alcohol. But there is another thing I figure out after some time, and it's all the components here on the back also need to be taken out because they are full of oil. So where did that tool go? With a tool like this, really spade or something, you can dig under here and hopefully, nah, it will not, but holding your finger here to the plate, I mean the lock ring, then you should be able to dig under here with something. It could also be a screwdriver, I guess. So you just lift the ring a little so that you then can lift it up and go all the way around. Put a finger here so it will not fly away. So then it's free. There is also some oil, and you see the whole aperture system should run completely dry, like many other lenses. So I also need to take this out, and it sits I mean really tight fit, so it goes like this. Oh, for that, I mean, you can see There's also trace of oil, so there is oil enough for a whole winter season. Screwdriver, flathead screwdriver, to take out this this pin. The screw is special. It has shoulders, as you probably can see here. Put it away, and then off with the this pin here. Ah, where did it go? Here. It's good to have a good collections of tweezers in different shapes. So now here you can see all around here it's really shiny with oil, and I think it would be the best thing to do, but it will happen in part 2. I will just do the blades, not put them in, but put them in some isopropyl alcohol. So and then take out, then I will take this out. Hold on. Now a bars of isopropyl alcohol or isopropyl alcohol, 99%, with all those parts, will just need a shower. So, and also the blades come in here and they can just rest there for a while, and then I will go deeper into the, see the plate here has also a lot of oil, and the lock ring too, and well, it's almost all the parts that goes in here. The plate here goes in, and we can also take this part in here. It's good to have a big shower for this, and also this goes in. So almost everything will take a shower, and I will just put them aside and they can just stay a little. Now the next thing is, I mean, the issue with cleaning this away. Well, I could just use a lot of napkins and isopropyl alcohol, but there are also on the other side. On the other hand, the focus is really stiff. So I would think, why not just dig closer, I mean deeper into the focusing helicoids and simply clean them with the lighter fluid and re-grease them so it will be good again. So yeah, I will simply start with take off the focusing ring here. It's not necessary to take off the rubber. No, it's not really necessary. One thing is important. It is because we have to set the lens at near end. That's important in this case, and we have to do some measure, and I take some notes about this, so hopefully you can see it. And it says it's a Mamiya-Sekor C 2.8 80mm. That's it. So at first set the lens to near end. It will say 0.7 meter, and measure from the front here to the very back here. And how long should it be? I measure it to 45.31, no, 51, sorry. and it's from the inner helicoid to the very back. So let's see if it's something like that. It should be something there. Yeah, kind of. And it's fine. But I also measure it at near end from the front of the focusing ring to the back, which should be something like 37.48. So if I measure it here, it should be something like that, as you can see. Well, it's better if I set the lens to 0.7, take off the, directly, there sits with the 3 screws there, there and there. Simply take off the focusing ring and then measure from here to there. It's fine. And then measure the middle helicoid and see how long is from the back to the the middle helicoid. So I'll just do so 0.7 and then unscrew the 3 screws down here, because then I can take out the 2 guide pins here and of course set marks before I do it, but that I will show you. There are some sticky something down here, you can see. So over that. Now unscrew the 3 screws. It holds a ring that sits against the focusing ring. This screw. And before you unscrew the last screw, just be sure the ring sits on near end. And near end in this case, in my case, you see the infrared mark, index mark, it should go straight through the 0. So if we look here, it looks like something there. In my case, it could be different in your case, but just be sure to have a kind of a reference point. As I also said here, the 0.7 it's for the red mark, and there is only one infrared mark here. So now then we can take off it's all the way up down to 0.7. We'll say near end. Then unscrew the last screw. Out with that. And then then lift out the focusing ring itself. Should come over. So it looks like that. You see the stop here and the stop at this is stop for the near end. It goes against this stop screw here, and of course the other end it's for the infinity. Now put it aside and put the 3 screws in the focusing ring. So I know where they should sit. Now here, from now on, the focus ring, don't turn it at all, but set a mark here. you have the oh, it's difficult to see. Oh, maybe it's better so. I know it's difficult to see, but use the infrared mark as your reference mark, not the index mark, but the infrared mark, and set an arrow or a mark or something. But we also need to measure how long is it at near end from the very back to the focusing ring, I mean the middle helicoid, just so we are absolutely sure how it should sit, because that's also important. I will say it's 20.49, and I will remember that. It should be something like that. And it's a 20.49 millimeter. So then we have a good note for that. And don't turn it yet, because before taking it out, I simply need to set another mark here where the the guide pin here. There are two of them, one here, one there. The number one, maybe they are different, I don't know, but in some lenses they are aligned in different way. But here it looks like they are the same, but still. Set a mark here, so it's number one, so you know exactly position. And also down here, set an arrow on the inner helicoid, so you know the position with that. Set a mark here, so you have your correct position of that. And on the other hand, set a mark here with the number 2, so you know where this one should sit. That's it. Now, another thing which is good is before you actually unscrew any part of the helicoid, because when the guide pins are free, everything will just move, both the inner and middle helicoid. So it's good to set a reference mark here. It will say on the middle helicoid and on the outer ring. So that's our starting point. And don't forget this, that's important. It's multiple helicoid thread, so if you get the wrong thread, well, you are lost. So let's go into it. Take off the 2 guide pins, and then we will simply unscrew the inner helicoid. Get that off, because it's easier to work with one helicoid at a time. So let's do so. It's not that hard. So off with the number 1. And it can work with one helicoid pin, guide pin. Where is it? Is it here? See, it's not very long. And then the other one. So there, and And now the pin and the screw is out. Good with a magnetized screwdriver. So this is how it looks. Not really anything special. And now, keep in mind that if you turn the inner helicoid, the outer, the middle, will also turn. So keep a finger here on the middle, and then turn the inner helicoid. I've set a mark here, and this is where it gets off. The inner helicoid will get off. So if I turn it, you can see the thread, how it looks. And if I turn it, if I look to the front, it will say clockwise. Keep fingers on here, so it will not move at all. You see how it will, maybe it's better to set a red mark, just so you can see. I think it maybe can help. The inner helicoid will come off at this point here, with this mark on the black. And the middle helicoid will come off over here. Oh, sorry for that. So I can unscrew the inner helicoid, and it will come off where the, see the arrow, there is off. And yeah, now it's free. So this one should also be cleaned, but it will be in lighter fluid, because then I can also take away the old grease, which have separated some oil. Now, since we are here, I can also take out the middle helicoid, but that's a different story. I have to turn it. The middle helicoid gets off after 4 3/4 turn. It will say my mark is here. This is where it starts, and all the way over to here. So if we count the reference here, so this one will go at it should, if we look from the front, it will go counterclockwise. So, and I also have my mark here where the infrared mark is at 4. So 4 3/4 turn counterclockwise. So, and it will say it goes 1, 2, 3. Where did it go? Okay, once again. You see, that's why it is good to measure how long should things be before you take it apart. And then we are back again here, 20.49. And I can just start over again and maybe set a better mark, so you better can see it. Now, should be 4. It will say 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then it should come over. It should come off over here. So the 3/4 turn will go off over here as I measure it. See there. So there we have it. That's it actually. And then we can clean it with the lighter fluid, but that's I will be back to show the part 2 of assemble the whole stuff here. So see you sooner.